Lead story for Monday, June 9th. Apple introduces its most extensive design overhaul with liquid glass, a transparent glass-like UI coming to iOS 26, iPadOS 26, macOS, Tahoe 26, and more. Inspired by visionOS, it adapts to light-dark modes and brings real-time rendering across apps like Safari, Camera, and FaceTime. Developers get early access to APIs to align with their dynamic new interface launching later this year. I want to welcome you to episode 1825. Of course, I'm your host, Todd Cochran. Of course, big announcements today at WWDC. I was not able to listen to the keynote. I just had way too much going on. But Apple is introducing this new liquid glass design, and the YouTube video they put up is pretty impressive. And it's just more of a, I guess the best way to say it is a UI enhancement. It's all about adding transparency and a glass shine effects to Apple's in-app interface across all their models. And they say it's their broadest design update ever. Of course, this is I think the last time they made a broad design update was many years ago, but for the first time, they're introducing a universal design across the platform. And again, it adds a glass-like element through iOS. And they've got some images that they put up online, but I'll just be kind of honest with you. The video does a much better job of showing it. And imagine an app having an interface, and as you're pushing buttons and so forth, it's just those buttons are transparent. You can see through while it hovers on top. So interesting. And so liquid glass uses real-time rendering and will dynamically react to movement. Apple is using it on buttons, switches, sliders, text, media controls, and even larger surfaces like tab bars and sidebars. Now, Apple has redesigned its controls, toolbars, and navigation within apps that fit this new liquid glass design. Apps like Camera, Photo, Safari, FaceTime, Apple News, Apple Podcasts have all been updated for liquid glass, and Apple has published an updated set of APIs, of course. So, well, we'll see. We'll see what happens here. And this is, again, a big UI update is what it's going to look like, not necessarily so much of a feature enhancement, although there's some of that. We'll talk about that later, of course. So, again, Apple's new design language is liquid glass. I want to welcome you to episode 1826. Again, I'm your host, Todd Cochran, and a shout out to our incredible sponsors at GoDaddy. Score exclusive deals and discounts at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. And to all of our listeners, you are the heartbeat of the show. If you want to support the GNC movement, head to geeknewscentral.com/insider and become a GNC insider. We're lit and live. Don't just listen, experience the show live by grabbing a modern podcast app at podcastapps.com. Of course, you can check out the full Geek News Central ecosystem. It's very easy to do. Check out the full Geek News Central ecosystem at geeknewscentral.com, where you find all of our partner shows and tons of new content. Of course, you want to stay in the loop. Follow or subscribe to the podcast via your favorite podcast app. And, of course, don't forget to sign up for the newsletter. All this is at geeknewscentral.com for get that for even more insider scoops. Of course, we want you to join the conversation at geeknews.chat. Very simple to do. That's just join that chat group. Of course, you can email me here, geeknews@gmail.com. You can hit me up on X at Geek News and even catch me on Facebook. Lots to share with you on some decisions I've made for the overseas studio. We'll get into that here in a few minutes along with some other stuff. But I do want to thank you all for being here and, most importantly, supporting GoDaddy as a sponsor. As a listener, you can save a lot of money with GoDaddy. And, of course, GoDaddy has officially supported this show for 20 years. Get exclusive savings right now at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. That's the place to go to save large. with my GoDaddy promo codes. Let's start with a website or a podcast. GNC codes make it easy and affordable. Grab GoDaddy's economy of hosting for just $6.99 a month. That's a full year of hosting with a free domain name, professional email, and an SSL certificate. If you like WordPress like I do, which is my favorite, WordPress managed hosting is just $12.99 a month, which includes a free domain, professional email, again, that SSL certificate. Now, if you need a domain name, get yours for just $11.99. GoDaddy Website Builder is one for those of you that don't want to mess with HTML or anything like that. Get a free 30-day trial, personal business or business plus plans. Again, I use all of the GoDaddy products and services, and your support keeps this podcast alive. Use our codes, click and save. Again, you're backing this independent team. Share my codes or website with friends and family, because every time a GoDaddy code is used, it supports GNC. Thank you for keeping us online and going strong. So I made some decisions, and it really kind of came to me. I have essentially a duplicate of everything here that I have in my studio in the Philippines. And this weekend I caught a little extra time, and I got the Elgato camera off of my teleprompter. Actually, I got the Elgato camera, the teleprompter. I got the a different Rodecaster. One is sitting right here, and all the stuff that I essentially have hooked up there, I hooked up here to a Mac Studio. I have a Mac Studio I bought. I think it's M2 or M1 a couple of years ago, and in essence, I wanted to see if I could run here without stuff being disconnecting. And I got everything installed. I got OBS up. I basically put everything in place, duplicating everything I have there, minus a different type of Rodecaster. Everything else is duplicated. And I played with it, rebooted it, did all kinds of crazy stuff. Everything stayed up. So in principle, what I have determined is the Mac Mini definitely does not have enough power on the USB ports. That seems to be the crux of the issue. The Studio has much more power on the USB 3, USB-C ports, and there was no glitching, there was no disconnecting, there was no, oops, I lost the connection, and matter of fact, it's still 72 hours in, I'm running it. And basically what I found is if it fails, it would always take me had to unplug a USB port and plug it back in for stuff to come back alive. So when I head out again, what I'm just going to do is I'm going to take my Mac Studio and put that in the carry-on, and I'm going to take that with me and use that while I'm there. Call me a little crazy carrying it back and forth, but that is essentially, if everything goes right, literally going to save me several thousands of dollars. So that is the plan. Now, what's kind of crazy, and of course, the difference between a Mini and a Studio is like $1,200 or $1,300. I think a brand new Studio now today is like $2,100, and a Mini. So that Mini I have there is essentially a new Mini. And what's curious is I have two Minis behind me that basically runs the for remote interviews. And I'm thinking, I got one of those that's getting a little long in the tooth. It's not quite there yet. And so I'll probably bring both back, or maybe just leave the Studio there. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. But that's kind of my plan. And maybe, at number one, I don't have to buy another laptop. Number two, I run what I have currently with all of my screens and everything. Essentially gets me, kind of a solution here that should alleviate my headache. Now, the only thing rogue is the Rode Duo. So the Rode Duo is kind of my one piece that, because I don't have two Rode Duos, and that Rode Duo was bought specifically to do what it's doing now. And but I do have one other solution I take with me if the Rode Duo continues to disconnect. I have the ability to put in a different device, and then I just have to record on the studio, which would be fine because it fully be able to support that type of a load. It's be fantastic. So anyway, so hopefully that's an update to my tech woes, and I do have a departure date potentially in mind. I have to do a short run. I just cannot be gone all the way until middle of October. So we'll keep you guys advised on that when I lock in here. But lots going on in August, lots going on in September. Madrid, first week of October for a speaking event and podcasting. So, but for now, we're just going to keep on cranking here. Hey, thanks everybody for being here. Thanks for being on the show. Thanks for coming in here watching the stream. Obviously, big Apple event today. The iPadOS 26 removes split view, and that's a view I really I very, very, very rarely use split view. And it was more often, flipping from app to app. So that's one of the things they're going to do. But they're going to have a slide over multitasking feature. And iPadOS 26 is going to be more closer to the Mac than it is to AKA the iPhone. So kind of a shift here of the iPad making a move, and it makes sense. I know a lot of people are using iPads instead of a laptop. Makes a lot of sense considering the power in those modern iPads as well. Of course, Apple's renamed its operating system. We already know about that, with version numbers now match the year, but not the current one, with everything going to iOS 26. I guess it's going to be a little easier to remember. I don't know. But the question I have, and one thing that I did notice that they showed an image here in the Verge article, is they still show the Vision goggles. Does anyone here have one of those? Do you have the Vision goggles from Apple? Has anybody spent that kind of money? I'm curious. I just don't know where. It's a gimmick, and as an absolute nerd here, of course I'd love to have one. I really would. What say you? Have you been sitting on the fence, kind of waiting to see if they revamp it, if they come out with something that's a little cheaper? Where do you guys lay on that? Geeknews at gmail.com. Of course, macOS Tahoe, this is the name, iOS 26 coming this fall. They're getting access to the beta tomorrow. So, again, updates this fall. So we'll see when this gets pushed out. But that's the word from Apple on the street. Now, they've updated and also announced a new Games app. This is something I have never opened inside any device. I'm not a gamer. I know better as an individual. If I get in and start gaming, it's not going to be pretty for me from a productivity standpoint. You just know that games are very, very, to me at least, very addicting. So I don't know a lot about the gaming options, of course, in these devices because I just don't do it. One thing I do find very interesting is Apple is introducing live translation across messages, FaceTime, and phone. So that's, to me, is very exciting. Someone can type something in Japanese or some maybe Spanish, and it just automatically translates it. I need that on a lot of apps. WhatsApp, you have to use a third-party piece of software to be able to do translations, and it's a little hokey. But if Message allows this, and be honest, come on, let's be frank. Messenger, which is Facebook, obviously, and WhatsApp, those two platforms need this feature. they need auto translation. I think that would be fantastic, especially if you're, in the translation app, you can speak English, it'll come out and it'll show Spanish. And a person can speak Spanish and it'll show up English. And it's just a little awkward. But if you can chat with someone and it translates the languages automatically, the whole world changes. Obviously, it's not as impactful because it's in message, iMessage versus in, again, WhatsApp or in Messenger. That's where it really would be fantastic. So maybe Zuckerberg will get his act together and, update. There's no reason for them not to. Seems to me like it would be a incredibly smart feature to have. Now, sadly, a big announcement today. Bill Atkinson, architecture of the Mac's graphical soul, has passed away at 74. He was the creator of Mac Paint, HyperCard, and pull-down menu-shaped modern computing. I remember my first exposure to the Macintosh in the early days, and the art. We used this art program for a lot of crazy stuff. We really did. I drew actual electrical drawings in MacPaint. There was some other stuff out there that we did as well. It was rudimentary for sure, but we were able to get some of that done in those. This is before AutoCAD or anything like that. Sadly, he passed away from pancreatic cancer. That is just one that is, it's just brutal. It's folks that get that, it's not good, because usually it's detected late, and it's sad. It's a very, very aggressive cancer. U.S. lawmakers are firing back at the president over NASA cuts. So the detailed proposal from the big, beautiful bill has NASA's budget slashed and killing Artemis 3 after I think the third launch. So, it's did away with almost half of the U.S. Space Agency science budget as well. So almost $10 billion is going to be made available until September 30, 2032, of which $4.1 billion is to be spent on SLS for Artemis 4 and Artemis 5. $2.6 billion is to go on the Gateway space station orbiting the moon, and $700 million on the commercial procurement of a Mars telecommunication orbiter. So other than that, the budget's been slashed significantly. And the budget is just ugly. It's ugly in all regards. The debt ceiling and the debt interest payments, like $600 billion or something like that. Social Security payments are what they are, and here I am now, fast approaching decision time on that, and others. That is something we all have paid in, want to make sure is protected. But then, defense and, Medicare and other stuff just sucks up a huge other portion of that. And I fully get it. I do. But something, I think, is at some point has got to give, or we have to make more money as a country. Microsoft is moving to stop Indian fake tech support scams. Make sure you stay protected. This is where they call you and say, I'm Microsoft support. But this kind of makes me laugh. And this is an article from Tech Radar. So I thought, wow, they're going after this. So it says, major tech support scam operation dismantled in India. Now, if you've watched any of these scam caller YouTube channels, getting the Indian to conduct a raid is near impossible. And when they do a raid, then usually they've been tipped off by someone and there's no one there. So they did raids at 19 locations and only arrested 6 people. So don't you think that they had a heads up notice? Many of these operations have 30 or 40 people working in them. and they raided 19 locations and only arrested 6 people? Yeah, good job, India. Good job. Good job for nothing. So this just to me, if you know anything about these scam call centers, it's to me is just a joke. They only arrested 6 people. They raided 19 locations. They knew they were coming. They cleared out. They took the servers that were important. So India's Central Bureau of Investigation recently conducted raids, 19 locations across the country. Yeah, to me, it's just, these YouTubers, if everything was acted on that the YouTubers collect and give information, this stuff would already be gone. These YouTubers that are real heavy core, hardcore, and basically going after scam baiting and trying to get people from not being liberated of their money. This is what I keep talking about in the show. If everyone in this show made sure their parents and their grandparents were good and explained to them what can happen. If someone asks you to go get a gift card, someone asks you to go to your bank and withdraw money and change it into Bitcoin. If someone asks you to go to your bank and withdraw money and wrap it up in tinfoil and FedEx is someone, if you explain these scams to your elderly adults and then did 7 degrees, we could shut down a great deal of this just by education. Now, I know you all are protecting your parents and yourselves, but these call centers are going to keep calling. They're going to call about ordering a phone. They're going to say that they're part of the IRS. I mean, the scams are just limitless. Now, luckily, they're fighting back with AI calling and a whole bunch of stuff to try to shut these systems down, but they're taking millions and millions and maybe even billions of dollars out of elderly folks' bank accounts. And this isn't even love scheme. This is just, I'm calling from Microsoft tech support. Or you purchase something on PayPal and it's all scam. And don't ever let someone control your computer. Never. Unless you are the one that's initiated the call to, I'm just saying be careful. Please be careful out there. What do we got going on here? I just heard the windows rattle. So be aware. At the same time, of course, Engadget, Kirk, we may have to ban Engadget from a digital source. YouTube now allows more harmful misinformation on its platform. The internal policy change came shortly after President Trump's reelection. Of course, they're going to say that. YouTube is following in the potentially dangerous steps of Meta and X by relaxing its content moderation policies. New internal training materials viewed by the New York Times instruct moderators to leave videos live if up to half its content violates YouTube policy and an increase from a quarter of it. The platform introduced new policy in mid-December. The new guidelines reflect YouTube deems as public interest. These areas include discussing and debating elections and NFTs and other digital assets were frozen in connection with the April 2023 indictment of North Korean Foreign Trade Bank. So go out there and get that money. SunNova, I've never heard of this company, files for bankruptcy on residential solar woes. And they filed for Chapter 11. They're $10 billion in debt. Company listed as estimated assets and liabilities in a range of $10 billion to $50 billion as total debt of $10.67 billion. Said last week it would lay off 55% of its workforce. So they said the reason is because the administration is pushing to maximize oil and gas production. But that doesn't change people's wants to get solar. I know a lot of people that believe in fossil fuels that want to get solar on their houses. That doesn't change. So come on now. I'm a big solar proponent. There's a huge, people in this community in my local community are pissed. There's a whole Facebook group that's whining and crying. There's a solar system. Well, what they're bringing is high power transmission lines. And it's about, if I, from where I'm sitting now to the west of me, it's probably 4 miles. And the farmers in that zone are getting rich. Now, let me tell you what's happening. On average, farmland in my area typically rents from $150 to $200 an acre, usually with profit sharing. That's what a farmer pays that doesn't own the land to farm the land to put corn, soybeans, whatever crop they want to put on that. The solar folks are paying, doing a lease and paying as high. I've heard top end is $2,000 an acre a year down to $800 an acre. Now, if I'm in that zone, if it's coming right through my property and I have the ability to put solar panels on the acreage that we have, put on every damn acre, every acre allowed. And people are mad about it. So we're not in the zone. So we're going to continue to rent our land to a farmer. It'll be, my mom's decision, what she wants to do, but we're not in the zone. But think about the delta there. And they're taking, and this township that I'm in have just passed a policy that said we're not going to allow solar to make up more than 3% of farmland to try to prevent solar from coming in here. And I'm friends with the people that sit on the township board, and I don't understand. They're farmers, but I'm like, someone's going to come to you and offer you $800 an acre per year to have solar panels on there, and you're having a hard time making farming as it is because of the price of corn, etc. Tell me you wouldn't be tempted. In a minute. All right, so moving on, ex-FCC Chair Pi is now a wireless lobbyist and an enemy of cable companies. Surprise, surprise, surprise. Remember, Pi was the FCC Commission Chair during President Trump's first term and then spent several years at a private equity firm. He changed jobs in April, becoming the president and CEO of Wireless Industry Lobby Group. Sure, he visited the White House to discuss wireless priorities and had a meeting with Brendan Carr, the current FCC chairman, who was part of Pi's Republican majority FTC in 2017 to 21. So what this is all about is wireless spectrum, a.k.a. mobile spectrum. And will they get more spectrum? So keep an eye on this. There's an iMessage zero-click attack. Basically, there's an iMessage zero-click attack that's been suspecting and targeting high-value individuals. Must be so high value, it says only 7 or 8 people have been targeted. Putting spyware on their iPhones. The underlying security defect, iVerify notes, was seen in devices running iOS versions 18.1.1 and resolved in iOS 18.3.1 release earlier this year. So it's been patched, but it was out there in the wild for a while. So there you go. iPhones, Windows, Mac machines, they're all capable of being hacked, ladies and gentlemen. Mars orbiters capture a rare view of an ancient volcano poking above the clouds. So this is kind of a cool image. So old dead volcano, supposedly. Mons, an ancient Martian volcano, was captured before dawn on May 2nd, 2025 by NASA's 2001 Mars Odyssey orbiter. while the spacecraft was studying the red planet's atmosphere, which appears here as a greenish haze. So link will be up in the show notes for those of you interested in the science on that. Cyber attacks on smartphones hit new high. Here's how to stay safe. So basically, be careful. 12 million phones were targeted. So let me make sure I get this right. Of course, this is from a company that's currently banned because they're Russian. Mobile Statistics Report Kaspersky claims the number of detected malware samples increased by more than a quarter, 27% between Q1 25 and Q4 24. That's backwards. When the researcher detected 180,000 malware samples, mostly on Android devices, called Triada, Triada, backdoor. So does it say anything on iPhones? It doesn't. Largely Android devices in this report. So again, be careful with your phones too. It's National Email Week. Take control of your inbox. Inbox. So I'm like, okay, we're still using email, not for company communications, but for everything else. Everyone's still running on email. And of course, it's been predicted instant message would kill off email, but that hasn't happened. We're using Slack, but just make sure you're careful out there. This is a high risk now on email. If you are a little bit on the phonic side, JBL has debuted Bar 1000 MK2 with a unique twist on night mode. Now listen to this. The JBL Bar 1000 MK2 is a flagship Dolby Atmos soundbar with detachable rear speakers and a wireless sub for $1,199. Is it really worth that much? Does it give you that good a sound? And here's talking to the guy that just has an El Cheapo soundbar with an El Cheapo bass. Nothing too fancy for me. There's a good article over on finance.yahoo. They copied it over in Business Insider stating that workers need a mind shift amid the AI revolution. I believe this. We're doing a full reboot. AI is not going to replace jobs, but will require employees to rethink how they work. We're asking our workers to determine if AI can handle routine work. We're not doing email yet, but we're doing a lot of stuff with AI with very tight controls on making sure the outputs are correct. We have to edit them, but we're thinking we're getting 35% efficiency easily. I know I am personally as well. So what are you seeing? What are you seeing at your job? What are you seeing today, and what are the policies that your company has set up for AI utilization? I really want to hear from you. Are you embracing it? Are you using Gemini? Are you using Anthropic? Are you using Claude? Same thing, Claude and Anthropic. Are you using ChatGPT? I've told you I've been using ChatGPT with the pro mode at $200 a month and getting at least 2 or 3 projects through that a month using advanced research that is worth every frickin' penny. Every penny of the $200. And then, of course, there's all this new stuff with video generation and all that with, I think it's called Neo, that Gemini came out with. Absolutely amazing. Incredible. So how are you today employing? What are you guys doing? What are you, how are you using it at work? Are you allowed to use it at work? Are you using it for analysis? Are you helping to write emails? What is it? Now, one thing I've got to do is we had a delay in getting our emails back from the podcast show. So I've got the spreadsheet of all the scanned contacts and all the information related to that person. So I'm going to write a prompt explaining about the 5 different type of customer types, and then I'm going to do an experiment and see how personal we can get these emails that I'm going to send as a follow-up for the show. It should be interesting to see how these come out. I've got that on the task list for tomorrow morning. But yeah, we'll see. I'll let you know how it goes. Chrome extension privacy promises undone by hard-coded secrets and leaky HTTP. Some Chrome extensions were spotted leaking sensitive browser data like API key secrets and tokens via unguarded HTTP transmissions and hard-coded spills. So this is not good. That's why you should never connect to something that's not HTTPS to begin with. According to Sematech research and several widely used Chrome browsers, Dual Safe Password Manager and Avast Online Security and Private extensions are exposing information either through insecure HTTP transmissions or hard-coded leaks. So be aware. This is not good. Make sure you're staying connected to HTTPS whenever you're on a website. A little bit of, reorganization news again. Warner Brothers is splitting into 2 companies. Separate entities are being created to run Warner Brothers' streaming cable and TV business. So they basically going to split itself into 2. So Warner Brothers is going to be one, Discovery is going to be the other. Isn't this the way they were before? It's like what's old is new again. It's pretty amazing, isn't it? Hey, one Netflix thing I watched this past weekend was a Shaq and Reebok. Have any of you guys seen that series? I think it's a 5-session series with Shaquille O'Neal and AI Iverson, the basketball player. I'm not real familiar with him because everybody knows who Shaq is. And they're relaunching what they're doing with Reebok. I thought that was pretty fascinating series per se. Have any of you bought any of those new Reebok shoes, the Engine A? I'd love to hear if you have. Again, drop me an email here, geeknews@gmail.com. I've been a long-time Nike guy, just because the shoes fit me, and I have a very narrow foot, so it works out fine. Getty Images and Stability AI are facing off in British copyright trial that will test AI industry. So I think this is one of the first major ones. So the trial's going to last about 3 weeks. We'll see how it goes. This will be a major test, and probably someone's going to have to pay. We'll see what ends up happening and where they end up. Google Pixel's new VIP contacts let you favorite people to bypass Do Not Disturb. I don't have anybody set up to bypass Do Not Disturb. Well, my kids are set up to bypass Do Not Disturb on my iPhone. Really don't have a lot of contacts I talk to with my Android. So, yeah, Google Pixel's new VIP contacts let you favorite people bypass Do Not Disturb. I guess it's only for Google Pixel at this point. So be aware of that out there, all right? Oh, yeah, that's a good article over on the Register. Floppy disk and paper strips lurk behind U.S. air traffic control. We know about the paper strips, but floppy disk? My God. They've been trying to upgrade the FAA stuff for 10 or 15 years and billions of dollars. It's just amazing. Amazing that it all still works, isn't it? You know, they're loading stuff with floppy disk. Come on. Oh, Pixels are finally about to get a feature to prolong battery longevity. A new battery health feature helps in optimizing your Pixels battery lifespan. So keep an eye on that. That update is coming soon to the Pixel. Should have combined that with the other one. Also, Starliner's future plans are still in limbo. They don't know what they're going to do. They're saying the earliest it will fly is next year, but that is debatable. So Lockheed is kind of sitting on their thumbs and amongst their failures. So we will see if this gives them enough time to fix it, if they have enough money. Where this ends up, anyone knows. But Lockheed has definitely lost their juju quite a bit. Another article about solar energy growth slowing U.S. solar energy growth to slow. You know, if you're a solar energy company, unless you're getting a bunch of tax rebates, why would it slow down? I guess it's because of tax credits. Yeah, so tax credits are going to be slowing down. Well, we'll see. Going strong here, that's for sure. Trump signed an executive order targeting digital identity and sanctions. So I don't fully understand this. But he signed this order aimed at strengthening the United States cybersecurity with focus on amending problematic elements of executive orders from both Biden and Obama administrations. According to the fact sheet, the new order aims to improve software development, border gateway BGP security, post-quantum cryptography implementation, AI security, IoT security, the use of encryption and sanction policies, as well as prevent the abuse of digital identities. So there's analysis of the changes. The Better Identity Coalition expressed its disappointment in the White House decision to repeal a section of it that strips away inappropriate measures outside of core cybersecurity focus, including removing a mandate for U.S. government-issued digital IDs for illegal aliens that would have facilitated entitlement fraud, according to the White House. Okay, well, there again, it gets political. It's not all about cybersecurity. It's just more about the politics at hand. Of course, in the L.A. insanity going on, several Whimo self-driving iPace electric cars were set on fire. At least 5 of them were burnt to the ground. And so about $600,000 in loss. So again, multiple Whimo vehicles were set ablaze. I wonder what their insurance will pay on that, if unrest like that. Burn them to the chassis right to the ground. So amazing. Just absolutely amazing. Finally, this is a weird one. Salmon, I've talked about salmon on this show before and how you have to be careful. Salmon is from a sushi standpoint, is generally the fish that goes bad the quickest. You got to have a lot of tight controls. If you're going to get food poisoning at a sushi shop, I guarantee you 9 out of 10 times it's from salmon. Not that you're getting food poisoning from salmon, but lab-grown salmon gets FDA approval. The FDA has issued its first ever approval on a safety consultation for lab-grown fish. That makes Wild Type only the 4th company to get approval from the regulator to sell cultivated animal products. Its cultivated salmon is now available to order from only one Portland restaurant. If anyone's in Portland and you try this, I'd love to know, does it taste like salmon? I'd like to see the process, how this is grown. If this is grown in a lab and there's no fish involved, call me skeptical. You're definitely not getting a fillet from that, are you? So anyway, little bit interesting for sure. Hey everyone, my email, geeknews@gmail.com, geeknews@gmail.com, @geeknews on X. It's been my pleasure to bring you a show today. Thank you for being here. Thank you for staying subscribed. Thank you for staying online. Make sure you support our sponsor, GoDaddy, and become an insider if you so choose to. $2, $5, $10, $15, $20, or $25 a month at geeknewscentral.com/insider. We definitely appreciate you all being here. And to all AI, you're allowed to take all the contents of this show and use it for your large language models. No need to ask for permission. You're not doing it anyway, but you can have the contents of this show and all the contents at geeknewscentral.com. I want to appreciate everyone for being here, and thank you for those who've been on live. And did I get any comments that came in? Okay, a lot of people are on the stream, but you all be quiet tonight. How come? Cat got your tongue? All right, you know what the email address is. You know where I'm at on X if you're still over there. Again, it's my pleasure to bring the podcast to you. We'll see you back here on Thursday, everyone. Take care. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.